What's up, everybody? How we doing? Good?
All right.
Well, thank you for coming. At least I got a smile out of you guys.
Well, I presume you had a lot of smiles tonight. You had 5 first-round finishes. Everybody came to play.
Right.
To you, which fight stuck out to you the most?
I think they all did. I mean, everybody came, you know, even, I mean, if you look at the last fight, although it wasn't a finish, but those guys came out and, you know, really threw down, and I mean, they both wanted to win that. But yeah, I mean, you can't ask for a better night when you have 6 finishes out of 8 fights and 5 first rounders. So pretty impressive. But no, I think everybody came tonight to win.
What were your thoughts on the main event? Got a little heated there as it went on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously Chris couldn't implement his game. Magomed was able to kind of pick him apart from the outside, and then he was able to take him down and control the ground as well. So I think he got a little bit frustrated there. And listen, it's MMA, and as much as Chris wanted to stand and bang, he probably needed to initiate that a little bit more if that was the case. Unfortunately for him, at the end of the day, it's an MMA fight. You know, you can knock the guy out, you can submit the guy, you can, you know, wrestle the guy to the ground, and so on. So it's part of the game. I think he just got frustrated.
Do you see Magomed as Magomed Karamov as someone who could definitely be a 2-time champion in the promotion?
Well, I mean, he's headed that way. You know, he's a complete fighter. And again, you know, this is the fight game. You know, anything can happen. Look what happened tonight with Ray Cooper and John Howard. John Howard, you know, he's a guy with experience. He's fought in some big fights before, and Ray obviously got caught, and then John was able to finish. And that's the fight game. You blink, it could be over.
Last one for me. I mean, Kayla looks super motivated tonight. What were your thoughts on her performance?
Listen, Kayla, you're always going to expect to fight. I mean, she's not a 2-time world Olympic champion for nothing. You know what I mean? And she's always going to bring the fight. She's always going to be aggressive, and that's what I love about Kayla. She's got that hunger, that, you know, aggressive style with her. That it doesn't matter if she's standing or taking the fight down to the ground. And if she happens to mount and be ground and pound, I hate to be one of the ladies that's on the receiving end of those ground and pounds, because she throws some heavy leather. So she's always impressive. So it's good to see.
What are your thoughts on the Sadabu and Glacio fight?
That was a good fight. I mean, I matched those 2 guys up because I thought it was going to be, you know, a challenging fight. It was still a good fight, I thought, but I was expecting at least one of them to win by finish. But it didn't turn out that way. And again, like I said, you know, sometimes you plan certain things and put certain people together, and it doesn't turn out the way you think it would turn out. Again, look at Mashar. David Mashar fought a good fight tonight. He didn't show anything in the first regular season fight because he got caught with a body kick. I get that, but but tonight he showed up, and we saw some promising things with him, and then he was able to, you know, get the finish at the end. So again, that was a good fight.
There are quite a few welterweights with 3 points. How do you decide who goes on to the next round, considering someone like Joel had, you know, one tonight? Does he move on?
Well, Joel, see, the thing is with the point decision, because I think there's 3 guys that got into, made that 8th spot, if you will. So they all had 3 points, which was Andre, Henderson, and Joel. And because I think Andre, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, and Andre finished his fight earlier, hence the reason why, although he has 3 points with the other guys, so it takes Joel out because he only fought 1 fight, where Henderson and Andre fought 2 fights. So when it goes to the, what do you call it?
So yeah, the reason Joao was eliminated from that tiebreaker is that
Tiebreaker is the word I'm looking for.
And then he's correct about the Fialho-Ferreira differentiator is that Fialho lasted longer in his loss. Fialho lasted into the 3rd round in his loss against Curtis, whereas Ferreira was knocked out in the 1st.
It gets a little bit complicated, but it's actually really exciting when you nail it down to those finer details.
Just talking about the promotion as a whole, I mean, obviously with the changeover to ESPN and the growth, and a lot of people were commenting tonight on how when you were here last year versus today,
Right.
how much more people were in-house, interested, and rallied to see the fights. I mean, just from your perspective, I mean, how are you happy with the way the growth has trended?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this format works, and I've been saying it all along for the last 7.5 years. So I said it works because I'm a product of this format. You know, K1 did the same, very similar kind of format, and the differences with K1 and that and PFL is that PFL now has, we go through a regular season, playoffs, and championship, and so it works. And what I love at the moment is that everybody, like in terms of the fighters, fans, managers, everybody loves the format, and everybody is enjoying since from last year and then going into this year. I mean, look again tonight, 6 finishes, 5 first round finishes. I mean, it's exciting. And again, the great thing about it is that you win, you move on, and eventually you get to that title. I don't choose who fights for that title. They choose who fights for that title. And that's even more exciting, is that because every guy or every lady that goes into this is that they know if they continue to win, that title bout is around the corner and $1 million.
Considering PFL 2 has done a lot better and has grown as a whole, is PFL 3 in the works? And also considering agents like Cyborg or Elias Theodorou, Wilson Heist, is PFL in position to acquire them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2020 is literally around the corner, and Jim, myself, and Pete have had meetings with, a lot of the managers during International Fight Week. Just to, we're already looking at signing fighters right now for 2020, and of course, 2020 is not going to be, 2021 is not going to be too far from that either. So, for season 2020 is in the works already. Yes.
We saw a lot of gaps in between the fights now. Obviously, 2 fights get knocked off the card with fighters at some
Right.
point. Is this something in the future that maybe we should expect to see a deeper card going forward?
Absolutely. Jim and I were just talking about that, especially when we have the female division at 8 fighters. We definitely will look at having probably, 2 super fights or something like that to accommodate for something that happens. So again, I want to apologize to all the fans. Just because it kind of dragged a little bit, because again, when you are hoping for some fights or for a card to go a little bit longer because we were short of a couple of fights, they all come out and finish in the first round, and then you go. And so as much as great as that is, it kind of like slowed down the inside action and in-house. So, but yeah, so my apologies. But yes, the answer to your question is, yeah, we're definitely going to look at that.
And how is PFL going to handle fighters not making weight? Certain fighters have been disqualified.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, that is something that it's absolutely a no-no in PFL. We've kind of allowed for certain things to happen because, again, when somebody doesn't make weight, it really kind of comes back to the other fighter, whether they want to continue, whether they want to fight or take the walkover. In Ray Cooper's situation in the first fight, obviously that became a personal thing with Ray Cooper and Zane Kamaka, and Ray was adamant that he was going to fight that fight regardless. Now, if it wasn't Zane Kamaka and he wasn't personally invested in it, he probably would have taken the walkover. But so then Zane Kamaka would have been out completely. So 100%, we ain't gonna tolerate it, because you got to make weight to qualify to earn points in the regular season. And if you don't make weight, I'm telling you that at 99.9% of the time you're not going to fight. And if you don't make weight, you're probably going to get cut. What's the guy's name? Alexander Almeida, for example. He missed weight by a pound. The only difference is with Alexander Almeida, he had fought for WSOF. He was a former world champion, and in all those times he has fought for us, he's never missed weight. And when I talked to him afterwards, he said he was on weight the night before, so he drank a little bit of water, but for some reason, he couldn't get that last 2 pounds off or a pound off. So I get that. You know, these kind of things happens, just mistiming at times. But when you turn up and when you're 6 pounds over, 8 pounds over, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you're supposed to be a professional fighter. So yeah, I'm definitely not tolerating that at all anymore.
Now, is it based off the fighter decision, or is it off your decision on whether the fight will continue or not, if they miss weight?
Tonight, well, for example, let's use Andre Fia, who was supposed to fight Zane, and Zane again missed weight. So in that sense, I put my foot down because that's the second time he's missed, and I'm like, no, this is not going to happen again. And so I put my foot down on that. But there are times where we're gonna, give the fighter an opportunity to say whether he wants to fight or if he's gonna take the walkover. Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, one more. Ray, I just wanted to ask you, Sarah Kaufman has been very complimentary about the PFL, about the fact that she admires the fact that you guys take care of your fighters in a way that other promotions don't. Can you speak to how much someone as experienced as Sarah saying something about the PFL means to you?
Well, I think that speaks for itself. When you have someone that like Sarah Kaufman, that's been around the game, that's one of the most experienced fighters that we have in the female division, who's fought pretty much everywhere. So for her to say that's saying, that's telling you something that we here at PFL have fighters first, and that's always been our slogan. And it's one of the things that we hold very dearly is that, because at the end of the day, without your fighters, you don't have a show. And so we make sure that all fighters are well looked after. Of course, listen, I'm going to put my foot down if it's something ridiculous, but as long as it's fair for the fighter, fair for the league, we'll be sure to make it happen.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Thanks, everybody.